What it do, baby? We got S Smooth in the building, Gonzalo in the building, Paul B. Shout out to you guys for tuning in. Today's lab is lab number 25, configuring spanning tree protocol root bridges using the iOS macro. So we pretty much going to be doing the same thing, except this time we are going to be using the macro to set the root bridge. Danny, what did it do, baby? Johnny not feeling very well. I guess he gonna call in sick today. we gonna give you some sick time though. Go ahead and watch the rerun tomorrow or later, whatever. We got BK in the building. I'm gonna give it some time for some people to log in. Anyways, this is gonna be the similar topology as the one we did yesterday for the configuring spanning tree protocol. Remember, we just had 2 switches and pretty much the same VLANs. So I took a peek at this. Am I looking at this correctly? Oh, okay. Let me see. Okay, just needed to look at my y'all can hear me, right? Hit me with a bruh if y'all can hear me. I've been having some technical difficulties here. Go ahead and drag and drop 2 switches onto your topology, whether you're using Packet Tracer or GNS3 or even G or CML. There's so many emulators and simulators that's out there that we have no excuse to not learn this stuff, man. People will be like, I don't have any routers or any switches or any firewalls or wireless control, nothing to practice this stuff. You know what? Right now, I'm in the middle of downloading. Let me let y'all take a look at this. Right now, I'm in the middle of downloading some Nexus images for GNS3, so that way I can learn some Nexus, learn a little bit more about Nexus switches and stuff like that, because we have a lot of Nexus switches in our environment at my job, so I need to learn a little bit more about that operating system. It's really similar to Cisco iOS, but there's a lot of different technologies. There's VPC, VDC, and there's all kind of other technologies that are not available in Cisco iOS. So again, there is no excuse if you don't have any hardware, you can't afford it. Packet Tracer is free, GNS3 is free, and like I said, as far as the images go, there's certain ways you can kind of get around that. But if you can try to get your hands on it legally, you can get what's that other program? Viral. I believe you can use Cisco Viral images on GNS3. So let me stop talking y'all ear off. I was still looking at those timers, doing some research on that. It's just a confusing topic. I really don't like spanning tree, but if we are learning about switching, LAN switching, you got to know about spanning tree. So Smooth said VXLAN. Yes, that's another technology that is available on Cisco Nexus OS. Gonna get me a cup of tea real quick. All right, we're gonna wait for you a little bit, Gonzalo. We got my man Eric back in the building. Eric Habit. What's going on, Eric? Yeah, we're just gonna give it a little bit of time to let some people log on and stuff like that. In the meantime, if you can, go ahead and drag and drop 2 switches and connect gigabit 01 to the other gigabit 01 or fast Ethernet. The book says fast Ethernet, so but I only have gigabit Ethernet switches. Gigabit Ethernet ports there. So I'll go ahead and start them both at the same time. Do I want to start all devices? Yes. Eric, what happened to you? You weren't on the live stream yesterday, man. I was like, what's going on with Eric, man? We was going back and forth, chatting and stuff like that. I don't remember seeing you on the live stream yesterday. Basically, yesterday what we did was lab number 23. It's similar to what we did for this lab today. We did yesterday verifying spanning trees port. No, I'm sorry. We didn't do the port states. We did configuring the root bridges manually on Cisco iOS, right? So same little topology. We just got 2 switches. We made one of them the root bridge, but we did it manually. Today, we're going to use what's called a macro. So it's basically setting the root bridge automatically with just a keyword. Last time we had to figure out the priority and add 4096 to it times 2. Well, yeah, 46 and then 4096 again. And then we made one the root bridge for 2 VLANs, and the other one the root bridge for 2 other VLANs. So today we're just going to do something really a simpler way to set a root bridge. We got SF in the building. Johnny Nieves check back in. We got another Johnny in here. I guess we got a couple Johnnies. Here's Johnny. That's your pop quiz. What movie is that from? For any of you movie buffs over there, any movie nerds over here. Anyway, we are about 6 minutes into the lab. I don't want to wait too long. I know I've been seeing a lot more viewers lately and stuff like that. So I said, let me go ahead and wait to let some of the late bloomers, late people coming in and stuff like that. I want to start immediately, but it's good to, let everybody get caught up and stuff like that. It's just like class, when teachers will wait for a little bit, because, we got some stragglers coming in real late. Then last time you said they are not using fast Ethernet anymore. What are they using nowadays? You will normally see gigabit Ethernet ports. So it's basically, fast Ethernet is what? I believe like 100 megabits per second. So gigabit is 1000 megabits per second, right? But, nowadays you could still see some enterprise environments or some environments that are still using fast Ethernet. Like, for example, I work for a university as a network engineer, and we have some switches that are still using fast Ethernet ports. But guess what? They're pretty much end of life. They're not supported by Cisco anymore. So we're going to have to replace those with switches that have gigabit Ethernet ports. So you could still use them. It's just nowadays it's just like saying nobody's using a PlayStation 2 anymore. Well, it still works. You can still watch a DVD on it. It still plays games, right? But nowadays there's PlayStation 5. So it's like pick or choose one. You can still use old technology. It still works. It does what it needs you to do, what it needs to do. So it meets your needs. So do you really need gigabit Ethernet ports on, like, say, a user access port? So I hope that answered your question. Eric, see a lot of 10, 20, 40, 100 gigabit uplinks between switches and firewalls. Yes, that's true. It just depends on the organization you work for. Some switches, some environments might not even need that. Like, for example, we have a remote site that they just got like a regular Soho router in their office. Matter of fact, we had one. We have like this little shop that's right beside the university, but they handle a lot of our stuff on campus, but they're like off-site, right? So we just have like a CenturyLink router right there. So it's just like a home router that you have at home, but they have Wi-Fi, but they only got 2 users there. Do they really need like 10 gigabit Ethernet ports or gigabit Ethernet ports? No, they don't. A fast Ethernet will do, because all they doing is probably like maybe doing a little bit of streaming and checking their emails and stuff like that. So your time is valuable. Let's go. You're right, Johnny. Let's get with it, man. I was just waiting for a couple of late stragglers to come in here, but I know Johnny's tired of me talking shit. All right, so in preparation, task 1, in preparation for VLAN configuration, configure hostname on switch 1 and switch 2, and configure the VLANs depicted in the topology above. We did that in probably the past 3 videos, so I'm pretty sure you guys know how to do that. If not, just ask away. We got Paul in the building. We got S-Move in the building. Those are pretty sharp guys there. Or you can just watch along. You'll see how we create some VLANs, right? So we're going to console into these bad boys. That's switch 1. Forgot to change his host name there. Switch 1. We got, this guy is switch 2. NetworkBruh, before you start lab, might check what you work on at work today. Oh, okay, so today, what did I do? Absolutely nothing. No, I'm just kidding. So I was responsible for the SolarWinds. You know what SolarWinds is, right? It's basically a monitoring tool, a tool that we use to, monitor our devices. Whenever a switch goes down or a router goes down or something like that, it'll give us an alert. We'll see like a little red dot, and it'll say, the bandwidth is exceeded, or this switch is down, whatever. And that's what basically the SolarWinds monitoring tool does, right? So when I came on board, I was responsible for building the entire SolarWinds environment. Had to create some virtual machines. One had to be for the Orion server, that's like the core of SolarWinds. And then there's the SQL server, right? Those two got to talk to each other. And then I had to onboard the devices that we're going to be monitoring, right? Well, I don't know if you know about SolarWinds. They got a supply chain attack, right? So basically they got hacked and we had to take it offline, right? And we found the virus signature on our boxes. So guess what? We had to take the whole thing down, and then you know, we had to wait for, you know, what SolarWinds was going to do about it. And then they did like basically a press release, told us what the virus signature was, and told us, here are the hot fixes, here are the patches, you know, upgrade to this, right? So before we did all of that, the director of my job was basically like, okay, well, before we bring it back online, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to change this, you know, change the passwords, we need to update the community strings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We got to do all these restrictions in place for this, right? So 2 weeks ago, I went ahead and rebuilt it. I bought it back online this week, and guess what? SolarWinds just got hacked again. There, you could go ahead and do a search, do a Google search real quick, and just type in SolarWinds attack, and you'll see they got it hacked again. So we basically had to lock it down again. I don't have to do rebuild it just yet, but today what I got to do is I got to apply some hot fixes, basically update it to the newest version, because they got hacked again. So so much for that, right? Johnny, you never was messing with me. It's all good, man. They got pwned. They really did, Gonzalo. You heard about that, right? Cybersecurity quiz. What were the 3 recent vulnerabilities? Look at hey yo with the pop quiz here. Let's see. What were the 3 recent vulnerabilities found on SolarWinds? I couldn't tell you the exact virus signatures. All I know is that they were found in our boxes, man. We have an InfoSec guy that handles all of that, and he basically made me take it offline and was just like, yeah, you basically got to upgrade to version 20. I think it was 20.2.4 or something like that. So, Ayo, if you got the answer, go ahead and tell me. I am the SolarWinds guy at work. Okay, that's what's up. I was in charge of applying the hotfix during the attack. It was just a DLL, replacing it with a new signature. That's too funny. That's crazy, Eric. We got the same. I guess we got the same type of responsibilities, man. Damn, I didn't know they got attacked again. Yes, today, bro. Today. We got Danielle Williams in the building. That's Miss NetworkBruh for y'all that don't know. That don't know. Man, come on, Ayo. Who's gonna memorize? I don't memorize those numbers, man. But those are the CVEs, or basically the virus signatures, or the I guess those are like the bulletin numbers, right? Is that what they are? I guess that stands for common vulnerability exploits or something like that. I forgot what CVE stands for. Let us know, Ayo. But yeah, those are the 3 right there. And we got attacked, and I gotta basically fix the damn thing. So that was my responsibilities. What kind of pop quiz is that, Ayo? Come on, man. Like, you think I'm gonna sit here and be like, yeah, it was CVE 2021-252. Come on, man. Let's move on with this lab here. So in preparation for VLAN configuration, configure hostname, switch 1 and switch 2. We are consoled into them. Switch 1 is... Let me move these guys over here. You're killing me, Ayo. Come on, man. Look, this guy give me a pop quiz or some numbers I ain't gonna memorize, man. Get out of here with that, man. If I'm gonna give you a pop quiz, I'm gonna give you something that I know you would have at least known. Like, what is the default number, the default priority on a switch? The default priority number on a switch. That is common vulnerabilities and exposures. There you go, Paul. Appreciate that. Now, the next pop quiz. We're gonna change the host name here. Right? Jesus Christ. There I go again. Fat Finger Squad in the building. You said it was Control-Shift-6? Control-Shift-C? 6? There you go. No, that ain't it. Did I abort it or no? Come on, dude. Control-Shift-C? 6? There you go. Oh, geez. Now I'm killing me, man. Let's console on the switch too while that one decides to wake up. So, what is the default priority, guys? Remember? We did that yesterday, I believe. Enable global config mode. This guy is going to be switch 2. Gonzalo laughing his ass off like, this dude is always doing the name lookup there. Look at me, man. That's a newbie move right there. VLAN 2010. Y'all remember how to do the VLANs, right? 2010. The name is sales in all caps. VLAN 2020. We basically do the same thing we did yesterday, except we're going to be setting a root bridge using the macro instead of manually doing it with the numbers and stuff like that. Paul B got it correct. That's the default priority number, 32,768. Danielle is killing me over here, where being with her innuendo over there. The name for VLAN 2020 is managers. VLAN 2030 is engineers. Y'all with me so far, right? This is the easy part. VLAN 2040 name is support. No IP domain lookup. You killing us. I know. I'm sorry, Eric. No IP domain lookup. Let me go ahead and do that on this guy, man. What is wrong with me? You got to be in global config mode to do that, huh? You know what? I think you could put that on your base config in GNS3. So that way, I only got to do this all the time, right? I need to do that. Switch 1. Let's go ahead and appease Eric over there and do a no IP domain lookup on this guy right here. No IP. All right, so go back into that and then do the same VLANs on this guy right here, right? 2010 is sales, and then VLAN 2020. Now I know I could probably have a base config for something like this that is very similar, since it's very similar to the last lab, right? But just in case there's some new people in here that don't know how to create VLANs or, you know, configure an IP address, you know, is why I like doing it over and over again. So that way, in case we get some new people that log on and stuff like that, they'll see how to do it. You know what I mean? So yes, we can skip all of this part right here, but just in case there's some newbies, you know, VLAN 2030, did I do 2020 yet? 2010 is sales, 2020 is managers, 2030 is the engineers. We're almost done here, y'all. Show VLAN brief just to see what we've done so far. Fat Finger Squad, we forgot the VLAN 2040, which is the support VLAN. After this, once we're done with this live stream, I'm going to try to import some Nexus switches so I could familiarize myself with more of Nexus OS, since we deal a lot of that at my job. Y'all got any questions so far or whatever? FFS, what that stand for, man? That sounds like some kind of internet acronym right there. Switch 1, switch 2, we did the VLANs. Oh, we got to put some ports in those VLANs, right? Y'all know how to do that? If you don't know, either ask my man Paul B in the building. Gonzalo's a pretty sharp dude. We got my man AO who knows the CVE numbers by heart over there, so they can help you guys out. If not, just follow along. Again, we got this lab from 101 Labs, Cisco CCNA version 4. Learn by doing. You can get a copy of this book from 101labs.net. It's written by Paul Browning and Farai Tafa. You can get a copy of this on again on 101labs.net, or there's gonna be a link down below in the description box. That'll take you to an Amazon link to get it. Like I said, it's usually quicker to get stuff from Amazon if you got Amazon Prime and stuff like that. So I don't know how fast 101labs.net will ship it to you, but we wanted to put some ports in those VLANs. You might not have these exact ports on your switches. If you have like Packet Tracer, you might be able to do this, but my switches don't have those exact interfaces. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put gig 0, 2, and 3 and 0, 1, 0, and 1, 1 in those ports, right? I mean in those VLANs there. So we're gonna do a range for 2 and 3. Range GI 0, 2, 2 through 3. Hashtag lab every day. That's right, man. That's what we try to do. Lab every day, man. Just not gonna do it this weekend because it's my daughter's birthday. So I'm gonna surprise her. Got a surprise for her. Pretty much decorated her room and stuff like that. What are you guys doing this weekend? Yeah, so we're gonna put those in. Oh no, I can't do that. They supposed to be in separate VLANs. See, Fat Finger Squad. Y'all ain't even correct me, man. We doing one at a time here, right? So interface GI 0/2. That's gonna be in access VLAN 2010, and interface GI 03 is gonna be in access. We'll do switchport mode access, and then switchport access VLAN 2020. And then we said interface gig 10 and 11. Is that what we said? Yes, 10 and 11. 10 switchport mode access, and then switchport access VLAN 2030, and interface GI 11 switchport mode access, switchport access VLAN 2040. I didn't put the first report in access mode, did I? 0/2. Paul B, the Super Bowl. That's what's up, man. I'm not really a real football fan or anything like that. I'm more of a basketball fan. Although I don't watch that much basketball either. I watch some highlights and stuff like that. Who's in it this year? Is it Tampa? I don't even know who in the Super Bowl, man. That's nice, bro. I guess I'll grind some CCNA. That's what's up, man. Happy birthday to the daughter. Appreciate that, man. Gym, beers, little labbing this weekend. Got to recharge the battery. That's what's up, Eric. That got to recharge the battery over the weekend, man. Because, you know, the week we try to grind during the week, right? Switchport mode access is what I wanted to do there. And then let's just verify our work with show VLAN brief. We haven't even got to the Spanish tree part yet, right? I'm gonna try to cut this stuff out, but like I said, I you know, just in case we have some new viewers and stuff like that don't know how to do this simple stuff. I know it's just like regular basic homework right here, but you know, in case we have some new people, they'll be able to see exactly how to do it. So let's see here. We got that in sales managers and support. We got to do the same thing on switch 2, right? Because we don't have, I don't think we have any ports in any of the VLANs on switch 2. Bucks versus the Chiefs. That's what's up. Yep. See, I didn't even know it was the Chiefs that was in it, man. So we got to put, what was we going to put? 0, let me see, what interfaces we got here. So 0/1 is going to be our trunk port, right? Remember, these guys are going to be we're going to be trunking here. Is that what they said? Yeah. They're going to say configure gig 0/1 on both switches as a trunk. That's going to be task 2. So, or the second part of task 2, because we have to configure the switches to support the VLANs listed and the topology above, configure the VLANs, and check that they are visible on both switches. So we've done that so far. We're halfway through with the VLAN configuration. We just got to put in some ports on switch 2. At least I do, unless some of you guys are much faster than me. Let's see here. We got to put in 0203. So global config mode. Interface GI 0. Not 01. 02. Switch port mode. Access. Switch port. Access. And yes, I know I could create a script and just put all this in there. But like I said, in case we got some newbies in here. So VLAN 2010. And we got to do interface gig 03 mode access. That puts that as an access port. We got to put that one in VLAN 2020. Got Finger Squad in the building. Happy birthday. Oh, yes, sir. Interface 0203. We got to do 10 and 11, right? So interface GI 1/0. Switchport mode access and switchport access VLAN 2030, and then gigabit 1/1 switchport mode access and switchport access VLAN 2040. All right, so we should check with show VLAN brief, right? Let me do a logging synchronous to take that out of the way too. That looks like we've done it so correctly. Oops. Line console 0, and then logging synchronous, so that way it doesn't break my typing, right? And then we put that in sales, this in the manager's VLAN, this in the engineer's VLAN, and that in support. So now they said they wanted to configure. I changed this typing right here because it said fast Ethernet, But again, I have gigabit Ethernet ports here. So we're going to configure both of those ports. We're going to configure this side as a trunk and that side as a trunk, right? Are we trunking so far, right? Let's check that. How we check that? Anybody remember? Show interface trunk, right? Come on, I thought y'all was faster than that. Yeah, show interface trunk. So y'all quiet tonight, man. We got a tough crowd. We got a tough crowd tonight, huh? Show interface is trunk. We got nobody trunking right now. We want to put gigabit 0, 1 on both sides as a trunk. We go to global config mode, interface gig 0/1. And we just say switch port. Before we do mode, switch port mode trunk, remember we have to do the encapsulation first, right? So we got to do switch port trunk encapsulation. We got two types we can do. We can do .1Q, ISL, or negotiate. We'll just do .1Q. And then switch port mode trunk, switch port mode tier, trunk. And then we do show interfaces trunk, and we should see that guy is trunking, right? Show interfaces trunk, dang autocorrect, right? Interface gig 01, switch port mode trunk, switch port non-negotiate. Yes, you could do that. Non-negotiator. But we could do that, or I just like to hard code it as the trunk so that way it does not negotiate. Just set me as a trunk. Interface is trunk. So we do show interface is trunk. We can see that port is trunking now on this side. Gig 01, mode is on, encapsulation 802.1Q, and it is trunking. We're allowing all of our VLANs across the trunk, and these are the ones that are allowed and active. VLANs in spanning tree forwarding state and not pruned, none. So we are not pruning any VLANs. Let's go to switch 2, do the same thing. Create that port right there, right? Gig 01 as a trunk. Same thing, right? Global config mode, interface gig 01, switch port. Let's do it Eric's way. We're gonna have one side hard coded as a trunk and the other side to negotiate. Let's see if we can do that, right? So we're gonna say switch port encapsulation. I'm sorry, switch port trunk encapsulation .1Q. We'll say switch port trunk, and instead of let me see, where was we putting it at so we could see. There we go. So instead of doing, what was I doing? That's not what I was doing. You said switch port mode trunk. Yeah, that's what it was. Oh, that's what it was. That's why I didn't type it. Mode, the key word I was missing. So switch port mode trunk, and then Jesus Christ. And then I thought you can negotiate that way. Why? You said switch port mode trunk. That's what. Oh, and then switch port non-negotiate. So that's what you got to do, non-negotiate on the other side. So okay, let's do this. Switch port. Huh. I thought you negotiate this way, don't you? Switch port encapsulation or trunk encapsulation. And it's after negotiation. Yeah, okay, so my bad. Oh, I forgot which menu it was at. So negotiate on this side. That's gonna negotiate the encapsulation type, not whether the hard coded is a trunk or not. But let's see. Let's make sure it trunks. Show interfaces trunk. And now we're trunking. So that was the way that Eric was mentioning. I think it's switch port, no negotiate. No negotiate. Okay, so right now it's negotiating though, but that's what I believe this N right here is for, right? That means it's negotiating as a trunk. Whereas the other side, he's hard-coded as a trunk. That's why he's missing that N there. So he became a trunk because he had to negotiate for it. Y'all see that? So I'll just try it a different way there rather than doing it the same way all the time. And this is why I like labbing with you guys, man. So, you know, I just kind of just did it a different way to create a trunk. Normally, what I do is I create trunk on one side and hard code trunk is the other side. I just did it the way that Eric mentioned make one side hard code as a trunk, the other side to negotiate as a trunk. So I think that was step 2, task 2, right? Now we need to move on to task 3, which is what we came to do, the spanning tree side. And then task 4, and then we should be done. Just a couple show commands. Configure switch 1 as a root bridge for VLANs 2010 and 2030. He's probably already a root bridge though, right? Configure switch 2 as the root bridge for VLANs 2020 and 2040. Then configure the switches to automatically update their priorities as follows. Jesus, look at these curveballs they throwing over here. Switch 1 will always be the root bridge for VLANs 2010 and 2030. And switch 2 will always be the backup root bridge for those VLANs. Okay, I think I see where they're coming from with this. So there's a keyword. Instead of, remember the last video, we set the root bridge using the priority number. But then remember, when I hit the question mark, y'all seen some keywords that allowed us to do some other stuff. And that's what they're going to get us to do here. So to set the root bridge, we need a global config mode, right? Let's go to switch 1 first, because that's what they wanted us to do root bridge for, those first two particular VLANs, right? Global config mode, and then we're going to say spanning tree. Remember, no shame in my game. I'm going to go ahead and question mark through this, right? And then we're going to say VLAN, because we know we're going to be setting the VLAN, setting the root bridge for a specific VLAN. So we're going to say spanning tree VLAN. What VLAN? 2010 is the first one, right? And then question mark there, we'll see our options. Yesterday, we set the priority. And then remember, they asked us for the second non-zero priority. We had to put in like 8192, right? This time, they're saying to configure it at the root bridge, right? But then configure it to automatically update their priorities as follow. So we could set it as the root with this, right? That's going to configure the switch as a root for VLAN 2010. So we do that. And then if you question mark again, you'll see right here, configure this switch as the primary root for this spanning tree. So right here where it says switch 1 will always be the root bridge for VLANs 2010 and 2030. So that's what we're doing here. We're going to always set it primary root for those VLANs. And switch 2 will always be the backup root bridge for those VLANs. Well, guess what? We have primary keyword here. Let me widen this out so you guys can see, because my output is kind of jumbled there, right? So let me type this over again, right? I'm gonna copy this so that way y'all can see, right? And then we're gonna go here. Hold on, let me paste that now. Jesus. I forgot the S. Fat Finger Squad. Let me just stop being lazy and type it. Right? Spanning tree, VLAN, 2010, root. And we have the option to set a primary, configure this as the primary root for this spanning tree. And then the secondary will be the secondary root. Well, guess who we got to do as a secondary root? We got to make the other switch as the backup. So that means we got to go to the other switch and create him as the secondary. Y'all get that? So for this switch, we're going to make him the primary root for VLANs 2010 and what they said, and 2030. And then he said configure switch 2 as the root bridge. Was it there? No, my bad. So configure switch 2 will always be the root backup root bridge. So backup root bridge will be the secondary VLAN. Y'all get that? If y'all have any questions, put it in the chat there, man. So yeah, so we're gonna make him primary for this root bridge. And remember what the root bridge is, right? That's basically the center of the network, the local area network, right? So before traffic goes out to the network or the internet or outside to the wide area network, it has to go to the root bridge first before it leaves to the default gateway. That switch might be your default gateway, who knows? But whatever the case may be, it needs to go to the root bridge first before it leaves. That's what the root switch is. It's the center of the local area network for that specific VLAN, or it could be for all VLANs. In this case, we've got 4 different VLANs. We're creating root bridge for each different VLAN. So it's kind of like, it's a little matrix kind of thing. It gets a little tricky, but we're creating different centers of the network for different VLANs, if that makes any sense. So root primary for that one, right? If you question mark, I don't think there's going to be any more options. That should be last of it right there. We can do network diameter of this spanning tree. Now I forgot what this was right here. If anybody can explain that. Where's Kelvin? Is Kelvin in the building? I know that I remember something like this. You can offset it from the center of the network. I forgot what that is, but that's a little bit off. See, look, maximum number of bridges between any 2 nodes. two end nodes. I'll probably do a little bit of research on that. I need a refresher on what that is. I'm not going to make pretend I know, y'all. But if anybody knows what the diameter keyword is for, let us know, because I forgot what that is. So we're going to set him, I know y'all been waiting for me to press enter there, huh? So he's going to be the root primary for VLANs 2010, and we need to make him the root primary for 2030 as well. So I'll just click the up arrow and do 2030 like that. And then they said they wanted us to make, let me see, switch 2 will be the backup root bridge for those VLANs. So we need to do the same thing, but we're just going to put the secondary keyword on the next switch. So we go to switch 2, and we say spanning tree. Matter of fact, before we even do that, let's see who the root bridge is for each one, right? Show span root, and we'll see. Switch 1 is the primary switch, as a root bridge for each one of these. And the way we can tell is we have a cost for each one of these VLANs to get there. We also have a root port to get there. I forgot who pointed that out, but it was also cost. I mean, it might have been Paul that said that yesterday. But remember, we said if we have a cost, then that tells us we're not the root bridge. If we have a root port to get us to the root bridge, we're not the root bridge. But we could also just do show spanning tree for that specific VLAN. We can see we're not the root bridge, right? So, for example, we just do, let's check VLAN 2010, right? Show span. I'm sorry for getting a little off topic here, but we do show span VLAN 2010. We are not the root bridge, right? And so this tells us we are not the root bridge for the VLAN, and this gives us information on who is the root bridge for that VLAN, right? So let me go ahead and get on with the show. And there's our way to get there. That port right there. What we said switch 2 is going to be the backup root bridge for those VLANs there, right? So span tree VLAN 2020. And let me show you another thing. I think you could do more than one VLAN at a time, right? Can't you? Comma, and then 20, no, not 2020, 2010. Y'all almost got me there, man. Let's see. You can configure the root bridge and configure switch 2 as the root bridge for those other VLANs. So switch 2 is going to be backup for 2010 and 2030. 2010, comma, 2030. Root, right? Y'all see how I did commas now, right? So we can do this more than one VLAN at a time, and then he's going to be the secondary root bridge for those switches. So in case the first one go down, that's what basically we're doing here. So we do that. Show span. Let's do show span root. Show span root, and we still have switch 1 as the root bridges for those other ones, because remember, we're just the backup VLAN for those two VLANs, which was 2010 and 2030. So we also needed to make switch 2 will always be the root bridge for 2020 and 2040, and then switch 1 is going to be the backup. So we basically making them the opposite. We're making them backups for each other, if that makes any sense. That make any sense, guys? Or let me know if I'm confusing you guys or anything like that. Don't be afraid. There's no such thing as a dumb question, y'all. I keep telling y'all that. My manager tells me the same thing. He's like, hey, look, man, don't be embarrassed. I hate for you to be like, yes, yeah, I understand. And I go in my office, I'm like, fuck, what I gotta do? He tells me that all the time. He's just like, don't be embarrassed to ask me, man. He's like this really smart dude. He's like this network architect, man. And he's not afraid to show me anything. So, I try to show you guys everything that I know, Don't be afraid. 2040 in switch 2, right? Let me see. Are you asking me, is he going to be the primary switch or the secondary switch, Danny? For VLAN 2040. But yes, switch 2 will always be the root bridge for VLANs 2020 and 2040. 2020 and 2040. Switch 1 will always be the backup root bridge for those VLANs. So basically, we made switch 1 as the root bridge for two VLANs, right? Which was 2010 and 2030. He's going to be the root bridge. Right now, he's the root bridge for all of them, but because we didn't make him the root bridge for any VLANs yet. We're about to do that right now. But yes, Danny, 2040 is going to be the root bridge for VLAN. Switch 2 is going to be the root bridge for VLAN 2040. Yes. He's also going to be the root bridge for VLAN 2020, as noted right here. 2020 and 2040. So let me go ahead and do that. Ask away. A good question, Danny. So spanning tree, VLAN, and remember, we can do one at a time, right? So, more than one at a time. So 2020 and 2040, he's going to be the primary root bridge. So he's going to be root and then primary. So he's going to be primary root switch for those two VLANs. Because remember, switch 1 is primary for 2020 or 2010 and 2030, right? And we can check that with show span tree root. So we do that. Show span root. And there we go. So notice we have a cost of 0 for 2020 and a cost of 0 for 2040. Why? Because there is no cost to get to the root bridge. I am the root bridge. I am the root bridge. I don't have a root port to get to the root bridge. Why? Because I am the root bridge. Why am I going to have a port to get to the root bridge if I am the root bridge for those VLANs? But I do have a root port to get to the root switch to get to VLAN 2030 and 2010. Why? Because switch 1 is the root for those VLANs. That makes any sense? 650K dub in the building. I haven't seen you in a couple live streams. What's going on? Oh, okay, you're good. So yes, good question, Danny. I thought you configured 2030 in switch 2. Let me see. Always be. So let me see. 2030, what we did. Yes, I did. No, I did not. What we did on switch 2, we made switch 2 the backup for VLAN 2030. So that's why he still has a root port and a cost to get to the root bridge. So remember when we put that secondary keyword, we made him the backup root bridge for that VLAN. Does that make sense, Danny? Good question though. Just in case, I know it gets a little confusing. The spanning tree is not one of my strongest subjects either, but it's just one of those things you got to kind of practice, and that's what we're here for. That's what we're here to do, So yeah, we made him the backup. So he is currently the root bridge, and we could check with just what? Let's just see. Okay, let's do this. We're gonna show the root bridge on both switches, just in case anybody needs clarification, right? So we do show span root on this switch, right? I am the root bridge for VLAN. Jesus Christ. VLAN 2020 and 2040, right? Because I have a 0 cost to get there, because I am the root bridge, and I don't have a root port to get there, right? But I do have a cost to get here, and a port to get there, and VLAN 1 was the default switch anyway. I mean, the default VLAN anyway, and he probably got a lower MAC address, and that's why he became the root for VLAN 1 anyway. So we did show span there. Now let's compare it to the output on switch 1. I don't know if I made him a backup yet. I don't think we made him a backup yet for any of those other. Yes, I did. No, we only made him a primary root for some other ones. So we need to make him the backup. Switch 1 needs to be the backup for VLANs 2020 and 2040. How often do you use that? What you mean by that 650K dub? You talking about like at work? Is that what you're saying? I never really had to modify any, not my current job. I've only been there for a couple months. But I remember my boss was telling me having to check which one is if the priority was low, and that's how I know the VLANs were being spanning across the trunk. So I had to do show span root at my job to basically see if it was getting those VLANs. So if that's what you're asking me, but anyways, we need to make switch 1 the backup VLAN. I mean the backup switch for backup root switch for VLAN 2020 and 2040, right? Y'all remember how to do that? So global config mode, spanning tree, VLAN 2020, and we can do it at 2 at a time, right? We can do 3 or 4 at a time if we really want to. 2020 and 2040, we're gonna say root, and then he is the secondary. So he's gonna be the backup root switch for those 2 VLANs, right? We push enter there, and then we just do a show span root, and we'll see he is the root bridge for 2020 and 2040, right? I don't have a cost to get to the root switch for VLAN 2030 and the cost to get to the root switch for VLAN 2010, nor do I have a root port to get there. Why? Because I am the root. Bitch, I am the root. STP, yeah. Okay, so yeah. It's not very often that I have to check the spanning tree, because spanning tree is almost like set it and forget it, man. As long as you have it turned on and you have a root switch and you set it up correctly, you know, you don't really have to worry, unless you put like a hub in the network, which can, you know, take down your network by creating broadcast storms and stuff like that. But spanning tree is almost like a set it and forget it protocol, because it works so well in the mathematical computations of it, you know, it figures out a way to stop loops from happening at layer 2, if that makes any sense. Pop quiz: do you know what the costs are associated for? Oh, you asking Danny? Do you know what the costs are associated for? Yeah, let us know. Let us know. We got Eric pop quizzing people in here. It's all good though. Don't forget, costs are associated with link speeds. That is correct. Matter of fact, I should bring that up. That's a good point, Eric. I think there's like 4 is for gigabit Ethernet ports, and then 1 is for Jesus Christ, I can't remember. Let's pull that up though. Root costs. Images. It's link speed. There it is, right there. I'm gonna pull it up for y'all real quick. It's a chart. There it is, right there. Boop. PacketLife.net. Shout out to PacketLife.net. I forgot what buddy's name was, but he always got some good charts, man. If y'all ever get a chance, visit this website, PacketLife.net, right? So here's the costs for each one. We have gigabit Ethernet port. That's why the cost is 4, right? So that's a good point you brought up, Eric. But you notice right here where it says 4, that means it costs me 4 to get to the root. That's the value 4 to get to the root switch. The lower the value, the better. I mean, the quicker way to get to the root switch, basically. So if this was a 100 megabit, which is basically fast Ethernet, if it was a fast Ethernet port, the cost would be 19. So that's why the costs here are 4, because we have a gigabit Ethernet port there. That makes sense? Good point, Eric. But let's move on. I think that was pretty much it. It says here, verify your configurations with the appropriate show commands. We pretty much did that. He is the root bridge for VLAN 2020 and VLAN 2040. And notice his priorities there. Let's look at VLAN 2020, right? He is the root bridge for VLAN 2020, right? So his cost is $26,596, or that's his priority. $26,596. We go to switch 2 for VLAN 2020. He's also $26,596. But then let me see why. There's got to be a reason why though. He's tied there. Oh, I needed a refresh, didn't I? No, I didn't. $26,596. Maybe because he's not the root. They got the same priority though, but that's like a tiebreaker, I believe. So that's why. So they have the same priorities, but then he got him beat by the just the macro itself. So let's just do show span VLAN 2020 and compare those two. Show span VLAN 2020. I am the root for VLAN 2020. Switch 2, right? And that is my priority, $26,596. But if I go to VLAN 2020 on the other guy, show span VLAN 2020, And that's his priority right there. Oh, so this is the cost for, this is the priority for the root bridge. That's what it is. My bad. So if you want to see what your priority is, you got to actually type in show span VLAN and then the VLAN number. So in this case, for VLAN 2020, switch 1's priority is 3692, where switch 2 in VLAN 2020, his priority is 26596. So he got him beat by a whole bunch of points. So priority numbers rather. And I think that's pretty much it. I don't know if they have any others show commands they want us to run, but that is the iOS macro they wanted us to pretty much do. Let me see. Show span VLAN. Yep, they just wanted us to do show span VLAN blah 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 blah. They didn't even ask us to do show span root, so that's one. Oh yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. In addition, you can also show issue the show spanning tree root command to view the spanning tree root bridge for all VLANs in the domain, and that's basically what we did there. So I hope that helps you guys out. If you have any questions, let me know. We do this Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Brendan Gallagher, love your content. Appreciate that, Brendan. Brendan, I believe, don't you got a YouTube channel too? I want to say, hi, Everett. I am watching you Demis. Chris, CCNA, STP right now. That's what's up, Brendan. Appreciate that, man. Chris Bryant is, yeah, he is. He's a great teacher, man. What does he call it? Like CCNA Bulldogs or something like that. Dan the man coming in the clutch. That's correct. Danny with the port like values right there. 10 megabits is 100. 10 megabits per second for 19. Yeah, basically the same thing we showed in the chart. So yes, that's correct, Danny. What's for tomorrow? Tomorrow, what we got is lab number 26. Again, if you want to know what we got going on the next day, get you a copy of this book, man. This is where we get most of these labs from. 101 Labs, Cisco CCNA version 4. You can get a copy of this from 101labs.net. Learn by doing. Authored by Paul Browning and co-authored by Farai Tafa. Paul Browning is he's got a lot of experience in the IT field. The co-author Farai Tafa, he is a CCIE. So he helped author this book, and they believe, the experts agree, that we retain only 10% of what we read, but 90% of what we do. So you think about that, right? You can sit here. I find myself reading these like this, the OCG manual and these books, right? And I'm reading, and then when I'm done reading that paragraph or that chapter, by tomorrow I done forgot about it, right? This is why, like, you can sit here and try to read, just like driving, right? They make you take these written driving tests, but it's not until you get behind the wheel that you really learn how to drive, right? So this is why I preach trying to do this stuff hands-on. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hit me with that like button, man. Let me know what other topics you want to see. I want to try to, get something. Like I said, I'm in the works with Boston Software right now to get a promotional copy, and then maybe we'll do, like, on Tuesdays, like on Mondays we'll do this book. Tuesdays we'll do something from the Boston NetSim simulator, and then Wednesdays we'll do something on Packet Tracer, and on Thursdays we'll do something on EVNG. We'll try to mix it up, but right now we're doing most of the content comes from 101 Labs Cisco CCNA version 4. Again, there's a link down in the description box down below. You can get it. It'll take you to an Amazon link. You can get it from there. Does that help with the CCNA? It sure does, bro. It sure does. I learned by doing. That's it. That straight up. You learn by doing, man. And that's what they say, man. You can sit here and read theory all day, man. It'll go. I ain't gonna say it goes in and out the ear, but it sticks better when you're actually hands-on with it. So, again, hit me with that like button, man. If y'all want to see some more of this stuff, Monday through Thursday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I try to sneak in some on the weekends if I could, but this weekend I got my daughter and stuff like that. It's her birthday, so I'm gonna try to give her a little birthday bash, But anyways, y'all hit me with that like button. Comment down below if you want to see some more stuff or any other specific topics. I'll try to veer off, something away from this book on the weekends. Make sure y'all subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you know when more of this stuff comes on. And it'll give you a reminder and like, hey, it's 8 o'clock. It's time to lab with the network.